Hey there, Aries. Welcome to your reading. This is part 3 for 2023, and we're going to look at your 9th and through 12th houses. I don't know if I said that right, but Aries, we're just going to see. I have like the flu or something, so I'm on cough medicine right now. That's why I'm not coughing, and so bear with me, but basically we're just going to look at 9 through 12, and that's going to be that. So let's see here. In your 9th house, you have this chaos and conflict card. And so the 9th house has to do with travel, wisdom, higher learning, things like that. The good news is that you have this card right here, which says the end of a tough cycle is approaching. So I feel like that you have been through a tough cycle. And look, you have this great fortune card coming in for you here as well, Aries. So, to me, I feel like you could be going through a difficult ending, kind of in the early stages of the year, or maybe 2022 was just a difficult year for you in general. And I feel like it forced you to reorganize. For some of you, I don't think it was that bad. It just could have been better. I kind of get like a little... I get a bunch of little things kind of popping into my head. I feel like I said this to you before as well. I have a repeat message popping into my head. I think I said it to you in like part 1 of your reading as well, or something like that, where it's kind of like, it's like every time you try to make a change or get things going, or to, start something new, or every time you think you have a good idea, it's like 2 steps back, right? It's like that's the type of chaos that I feel with this chaos and conflict card. I feel like that's what you have experienced. The thing is that interestingly enough, I feel like you've become like a warrior, like this King of Swords. The King of Swords is a true warrior. He doesn't allow the storms to beat him down. He doesn't allow the storms to kind of ruin him. He uses them to become stronger. He uses them to change himself. And I think that's why you're ending with this great fortune card. There's probably great fortune available to you. Plus, you have Jupiter in your 1st house. Friggin' amazing. So, love it. I feel like you've learned a lot from things. I feel like you need to make sure that you've learned a lot from the lessons that you have learned with the Judgment card. I'm laughing because this could be like a repeat situation. I feel like this is saying, like, make sure that you don't repeat something. Again, it could be anything. It doesn't have to be a person. Again, it's your 9th house. And really, I feel like your 9th house in your reading here is focusing on the lessons that you've learned, maybe over your whole entire life. It's like maybe everything is adding up right now. Maybe everything is coming together. And I say maybe because I don't know. I'm not you. You're the one that has to put these pieces of the puzzle together. But I kind of feel like the 9 of Swords is saying, hey, you're at a very critical point in your life. You can either live your life exactly the same as you have over the past many years, or you can make a complete 360. You can make a complete change at this moment, but the choice is yours. So what are you going to choose, Aries, is what this 9 of Swords is saying. Pretty intense energy, actually. And I feel like you're tired. I feel like you're tired of the same old, same old. So it's kind of looks like to me like you want this change in the first place. I feel like you're ready for a shakeup, You have the 4 of Swords as well, which is like a card of recovery, but I feel like you're healing from just a lot. Maybe things over the past many years, maybe the annoyances as well. Maybe you're having a fever dream doing tarot readings like I'm doing right now. And maybe you're trying to just get healthy, right? So whatever you're doing, I don't care, but I feel like you're kind of looking to heal. And again, I feel like you've learned a lot is what this is saying. It's almost like this year, I think by the time we get into, also like for you, just in particular, I think once we get to maybe even the end of like 2024, so like the next 2 years or so, we'll say, I think you're going to be looking back and being like, wow, like I did completely shake up my life. I did completely, reinvent myself, or I did answer some sort of calling, something that I was really meant to do. Things are going to be very different for you over these next 2 years. And again, I'm not saying things are going to be perfect. I want to stress that, right? I want to stress that it's not necessarily going to be easy, but I can promise that your life will never be the same again. So, which again, I'm pretty sure I ended your last part on basically the same thing. It seems to be a major theme for you, right? That things are changing significantly in your life. You're a very different person. With the 9 of Swords, you have this defense card. Yeah, I would be careful of learning a lesson again, especially if you have any round around situations in your life. Could be anything. Again, if there's something that you keep repeating or that you feel like you keep repeating, I feel like it's time to use the ninth house energy to learn about something new or to learn about something different. With the judgment card, you have this acquisition card. Definitely, a lot of people have been getting these like fancy couple cards, I call them. This right here is like my true fancy couple card. There's another card in this deck. I think it's called Status or something like that. It's basically the same card. So for those of you that want love, there could be love coming in. I kind of feel you have a lot of choices. I also feel like the people in your life see you changing your life. So it wouldn't surprise me if this year you have people from the past coming back and things like that, because it's like they probably see you glowing up and all this other stuff. And I feel like this is saying, like, do you want to repeat the same mistakes, or are you going to move on to something that's like significantly better for you? And so I feel that's what you're doing. I also do feel something here about travel. Some of you could be kind of traveling. It's kind of weird because I feel like you're traveling for wealth. Those are the words that are popping into my head, but that could mean pretty much anything. You might be like moving to a place that's like cheaper, for example, but maybe you're still getting paid the same amount of money. So it's like you're actually making more money by living somewhere cheaper. Could be anything like that, basically. You could be moving somewhere that's cheaper and better, which is even better. That's like a win-win-win type of situation, and that's what I'd be looking at here. With the Four of Swords, you have this Fortune card. Definitely great fortune coming in for you. I mean, you literally end with the Great Fortune card, and you have this Fortune card right here. So I feel there's a lot of success coming in for you at this time, Aries. Again, I don't think it's been easy. I feel like you've really had to put the work in, but you're getting there. Next in your 10th house, which is the house of career, your long-term goals, fame, things like that. And you have this koi fish spirit. It says, there's always enough. Another card of great abundance coming in for you. Another kind of card that would suggest that you've been through many challenges and difficulties, like in, the story of the koi is that they swim up waterfalls until they reach their final waterfall and they turn into a dragon. And so some of you, that's popping into my head. I've never really told that story on this card, and, I get this card all the time in readings. So it is kind of interesting. I feel like you've been at your last waterfall, more or less, and it's like you're about to go through a transformation. You have the Fool, the Ten of Wands, and the King of Swords. The Fool, to me, talks about a new beginning. There's clearly a difficult ending that you have experienced, which we already know about right here. The good news is, again, all your cards kind of talk about a difficult cycle coming to an end. I would be worried if you didn't have those other cards. So I feel like you're taking a leap of faith towards some sort of new beginning in your life. I feel like what you're worried about is like something behind you. I have that feeling of something like chasing me, behind me, right? And it's like, I'm wondering if in work and career, if you have been on the grind, Aries, like you've just been grinding away, trying to accomplish things, trying to get things done, working a lot, really just trying to stay ahead, right? And so I kind of have that feeling of just being on a hamster wheel, like the Nine of Swords. And I feel that I kind of feel like this right here is saying that it's time for you to look for ways to get off the hamster wheel. It's time for you to look for ways to kind of not be so burdened, right? And I feel like there are things that you could do to kind of help release some of the burdens, but I would basically say that you have to do your research to figure out what those things are. For some of you, I do feel you could be like changing your career just because of the burden. So you might be making some sort of change. I do like the Ten of Wands, though, because he's about to reach his home in the background here. The story of the Ten of Wands is that he planted those 10 wands, and that is his harvest. He's about to bring them to his home, and he's about to have a harvest. So I really feel there's like a harvest coming in for some of you. You have the King of Swords as well, which is like a card of knowledge and wisdom. A lot of King of Swords energy coming up in these readings, especially in this third part reading, Aries. Pretty much every single sign, I think, has had the King of Swords. So pretty interesting. I feel that for a lot of you, you could be gaining a lot of knowledge and wisdom. I also do feel that some of you could be involved in something legal, and this could just be law and order. He represents law and order. 10th house doesn't really have to do with anything legal necessarily. You could apply any house to basically any situation that you're dealing with. And I'm just dropping cards as usual. You have this affair card right here. You have this criticism card as well. So it could be like a divorce or something like that. Maybe your partner is criticizing you all the time or something. But it is popping into my head that there could be some sort of separation. With the Fool card, you have this Order card. I'm telling you right now, I feel for those of you that have a business, I feel like there are ways to, I don't want to say make things easier, but to lessen the burden. I feel like there are ways that you could kind of make it so that you're not working so much or so that you're more efficient or whatever. Then I would be learning about those things. Again, I feel like you need to learn. I also feel like you need to diversify is popping into my head as well. There might be ways to kind of, put your information out there in different ways or to sell yourself in different ways or whatever the case may be. With the Ten of Wands, you have the Intuition card. I do feel like you need to trust your intuition. At this time, I do feel it could be a very intuitive year for you in general. And it's like your intuition, I feel, is telling you certain things, like to do certain things. And I feel like you need to trust your gut. With the King of Swords, here you go. You have this status card. And it's funny that I was talking about this. I knew this was going to come up. So you have the acquisition and the status card, fancy couple card. Some of you, if you're looking for love, again, these houses are not intended to be talking about love, but I do feel that if you're attracting love, it definitely could be attracting a person of status, or, probably the two of you together could be creating something that creates status in your life, whatever you want to call it. Next, in your 11th house, here you go. You have this legal card. It says dealings with legal issues. I literally just said that. It says seek an expert, especially if you're handling legal matters. So I do feel some of you could be dealing with something legal. You also have this card that says the end of a tough cycle approaches. So I feel finally something is coming to an end here. The 11th house has to do with like groups, community, the future, and also it's my house of luck as well. And I kind of feel this is saying that there's more luck coming in for you in the form of balance as well. I kind of get like karmic debts being paid with this legal card as well. And I don't think like, this isn't bad karma. I think you're getting good karma for things that you have done. But I definitely feel the end of a tough cycle has begun for you. You have the Tower, the Three of Wands, and the Death card. Again, it hasn't been easy. I think that it's probably been a bunch of Tower moments or a bunch of those moments like I described at the beginning of the reading where it's like 2 steps back or, maybe you get going on something, maybe your business starts working or things start moving forward and then you go backwards. Maybe your relationship starts going forward, then you go backwards. And I kind of feel like that's what you're healing from. I also feel some of you could be ending a situation in your life, and by ending it, you're increasing your luck. This is very specific. It might only be for a few of you, but if you're with a person, maybe you're with a person where you notice that your luck gets worse when you're with them, you could be ending that relationship. You also have the Three of Wands. Three of Wands is a card of expansion and growth. It is definitely a year of expansion and growth. So if there are opportunities for you to join groups, because this is the house of groups and community and things like that, then I feel there could be a lot of success for you in getting together with other people or in like doing things with other people. I keep saying that teamwork makes the dream work. This is true for pretty much everyone, and it's definitely going to be true for you here. I also feel for some of you that you could be seeing a lot more results coming in for you. I feel like you've had a hard time as well. Like if you have worked together with other people, like, even if maybe you've tried to collaborate with people in the past, Aries, or maybe you've tried to work with people in the past, and I feel like it just hasn't ever, I just feel like it really, what's popping into my head is value. Like, I feel like maybe it's like you have a certain amount of value, and maybe you always work with people who have less value, and I'm not saying, people always get super offended whenever I say this. I'm just trying to make a point here, people, right? This is broadcasting, okay? Don't mess with me. I have the flu. I'll go nuts right now, Aries. But what I will say is that, basically, I feel like some of you, it's like there's just been a difference in the value, like what you get out of the situation compared to what they get. And I'm not saying, again, I don't even think you look at it like that. It's not like you're like saying, oh, I need to get this out of these situations, especially in like work or business. But I do feel like maybe you feel that you've been taken advantage of in the past. It's popping into my head intuitively. The thing is I think that if you have been dealing with that in work, that, that's kind of like the debt that is being repaid here with the karmic debt thing that I was getting, is you could be receiving some positive karma, some good karma for all the nice things that you've done, like in those types of situations, right? I also do feel that if you are, again, entering into work situations in the future, they're going to be much more balanced. There's much more kind of even playing field type energy that I'm getting here. You have the Death card as well. I do feel like there could be changes just in general for you. I feel like you're entering into a much more lucky time as well. And I feel there are just like changes that you're noticing that are allowing you to be more lucky, or that are allowing you to feel like you are more lucky in your life. And, I really like that for you, Aries. With the Tower, you have this Power card. Tower, power. This card is also the Moon in Scorpio. The Tower is Scorpio. So I feel you could be gaining power. You know what's really interesting is that on the Tower, the crown is falling off on the top of the Tower. And then right here, the King is dead on the Death card. And it kind of represents the fact that even kings die. It kind of says that even things that have been established for a very long period of time, eventually they die and you move on to something else. So I feel some of you could be seeing something like an authority figure, or you could be seeing something that's been established in your life, like a group, or probably something in your community, because the 11th house has to do with your community, but it could also be a community that you belong to. You could be seeing something going through a transformation, but this might be your opportunity, is kind of what I'm getting here. Like, there might be an opportunity for you to take power in whatever the situation is. With the Three of Wands, you have this adaptability card. I think we all have to adapt to this new world that we are entering into. Again, co-creation is a big one, so any opportunities that you can where you can co-create with other people are going to be very beneficial for you. Also learning, and also being willing to kind of like mix ideas together, I see as being extremely important. I also see being able to kind of like refine information, I think is going to be very important in the future as well. Like being able to take two complex ideas and being able to mix those things together. Again, people keep asking me about AI and stuff like that, and they're like worried about AI. I'm like, yeah, but there are certain things that AI like won't be able to, won't be able to do, And like, again, one of those things might be that, one of my favorite people of all time, James Altucher, says that idea sex is where you take two different ideas, you mix them together, and those ideas are usually like genius ideas. Like PayPal, for example, I think that's one of the example he uses. It's like a bank with the internet. It's like two different things together. So, I don't know, you're gonna have to put your thinking cap on, but if you're adaptable, there's like a lot of success for you here, Aries. With the Death card, you have this extremism card. I don't know, for the rest of your life, for like the next, sorry, my camera might have just turned off, but for like the next 20 years at least, I would be very careful of kind of like extreme ideas. We have Neptune moving into Aries and at the end of 2025, really 2026. And Neptune and Aries is kind of extremism. Like, I think that with Neptune and Aries, we'll probably see like new cults like springing up and like things like that as well. So I always tell people, like, no gurus for the rest of your life, right? And really, that doesn't mean you can't learn from people. That doesn't mean you can't listen to someone who's a guru and take their ideas. It just means, like, do not make this person your God, right? Do not make anyone your God. Make yourself God. Make yourself the person that you listen to. And, I think that's very important here, Aries, especially, again, when we get closer to 2026. I know we're not there yet, but it's definitely something that I would be thinking about here. Next, in the area of the 12th house, you have this Great Fortune card and this Expectations card as well. This is the house of endings, closure, things that are hidden, things that you're releasing as well. But I kind of feel like this is something that's coming in for you, is Great Fortune. I feel like there are very positive things that are coming in for you just in general, and it's probably because of what you are moving away from is what I'm getting here. You have the Ten of Swords, the Seven of Cups, and the Three of Swords. It's weird that on the Seven of Cups, I get a great sense of clarity. I do not get any of the like typical, Seven of Cups meanings for you on this card, on the Seven of Cups. To me, for you, it's saying clarity, or there's like a certain level of clarity, or you're seeing something clearly for the first time. I think what you are seeing clearly is this right here. I feel like you're seeing that an ending is actually a blessing. He's making a symbol with his hands here, and it's the same symbol that the Hierophant is making on his card, and it represents a blessing. And maybe you've gone through a difficult ending, or maybe you are currently going through a difficult ending at the time that you are watching this video. Doesn't matter when. And what I would say is, I feel like it's kind of saying that this difficult ending is something that you now see as necessary. Maybe you didn't see it as necessary in the first place. It's kind of weird because I see you like outgrowing something very, very quickly. I have this like sudden sense of maturity where maybe it didn't exist before, or, some of you could be going through like a significant spiritual awakening. Like sometimes I think again, I can't even express what I'm feeling here, but sometimes I think when something like this happens, everything that's going on here, where all of a sudden you kind of maybe overcome a toxic trait. And again, I'm not calling you toxic. We all have toxic traits. We all have things that we need to work on, of course. But sometimes I think it can happen just like that. Like overnight, we can, overcome something. And that's kind of the feeling that I get here, Aries. It's like you're having a realization or you're seeing something clearly. And it could also be a person as well, right? 3 of Swords. Maybe you're realizing that a past person or a person that you're with currently is like stealing from, not like literally stealing. I'm not talking about literally. I'm talking about figuratively. Maybe maybe they are like an energy vampire. Maybe it's a job. Maybe it's you selling yourself short, right? Maybe it's you not starting a business, or maybe it's you not going for your dreams. When we don't do those things, we're stealing from ourselves. But this is like what it looks like you are overcoming to me here, Aries. Pretty intense reading. I feel like this is definitely going to be a hell of a good year for you. I feel there's a lot of success. And I think it's because of this right here. I think it's because of this 12th house activity that we see here. I think it's like a realization, like I said. With the 10 of Swords, you have this discrimination card. This is really a card of discernment. It's a card of being able to see what's right and what's wrong. Exactly what I was saying on that 7 of Cups. It's like you see clearly what is right for you. With the 7 of Cups, you have this versatility card. I feel like you're much more flexible in how you accomplish the things you want to accomplish as well. It's kind of weird because I feel like some of you, it's like, I have to be very careful with my words here, but I feel like it's almost like you're breaking a spell. I don't personally believe in spells or magic. I know a lot of people do. That's fine. I don't care. But what I would say is personally, I block all that. If it does exist, I block it all out and return to sender anyway, right? But what I would say here is that I feel it's almost as if you're breaking a spell. It's almost as if you're kind of coming out of the fog and seeing things clearly here in your reading. It's making you more versatile. I feel like it's making you more successful. It's like less fixed energy. With the 3 of Swords, you have this flirtation card. Definitely new love. If you want love, I feel like there's new love coming in for you, and it's probably something that's going to make you very happy, or it's something that is going to increase your status in some way. You literally have both cards, the status card and that acquisition card, so love it. We're going to pull 5 main themes now, see if there's anything else that wants to come up. You have this dog barking. It says advice from a friend. I just think in general that your relationships are much more fulfilling. Again, remember what I was saying about like the whole value thing in relationships. And again, this isn't like I'm not making a statement saying people are worth less or something like that. I'm just saying I think you're getting into situations that more match with your energy. Let's put it that way. You have this boat card. It says money or property through a windfall, inheritance, or winning. And love that. So definitely we see great fortune here. She's like pouring out money on that card. You have this card here, which is like a windfall. Definitely a lot of success for you. You have this vase card. It says secret admirer. There is definitely love. Someone's interested in you here, Aries. And it's weird. I don't see any, like no sign really stands out to me. Earth, Scorpio. That's about it. So it could be any sign. This is a general reading. Take it how it resonates, but I definitely feel it could be a secret admirer. You could be the secret admirer as well, so you could be the one that is the secret or something. You have this July card and also this horseshoe card. It says good luck on it. So in the month of July 2023, there could be a significant increase in your luck. At that time, Jupiter will be in Taurus, your second house, so kind of makes sense to me that it could be a very lucky time for you. I feel like this whole entire year is lucky for you, but there could be a major change in the month of July. You have this funnel card that says period of frustration, lessons to be learned. I feel like you've learned the lessons. That's what the whole entire first row was basically saying, Aries, is that you learned lessons. But this looks really good, so thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. Make sure to watch your sun, moon, and rising for a full picture of what's going on for you at this time. But thank you, and definitely enjoy your year.